Today we're going to be talking about perimeter. Perimeter is the total length around a shape, and perimeter is calculated when all the sides are added up together. Some real life uses is like building a fence around your backyard or constructing a house. In this video we're going to be showing how to calculate perimeter of different 2D shapes. First, let's start with rectangle. This is a rectangle. There's the length and there's the width. In a rectangle, the opposite sides are parallel with each other. That means that this length should be equal to this length, this width should be equal to this width. We should add all of these lengths and widths together to get a perimeter. Let's say the length was equal to 10. If one side is 10, the other side has to also be 10. And then width is equal to 5. Let's say this was 10 inches. The units is 10 inches. So what happens is we have to add all of the inches. 10 plus 10 is 20, 5 plus 5 is 10, 30 inches in total. In this scenario, the perimeter would be 30 inches. Reason why is because I added all of these, all of the length and width, and combined them into 30 inches. Next is square. A square looks like this. The square actually doesn't have a length or width because all of the sides are same. So I'm going to put S as an abbreviation of sides. Now, if we add all the sides together, just like the rectangle, we should be able to get perimeter. Now let's say this side was equal to 5 inches. That means that all the other sides have to be equal to 5 inches because in a square, all the sides are same. That means side is equal to side. Now, 5 plus 5 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10, 10 plus 10 is equal to 20. This perimeter in this scenario would be 20 inches. Now let's move on to triangle. There are 3 types of triangle. There's an equilateral, isosceles, and also a scalene. However, any triangle in any type of measurements, it's still the same. You have to add up all the sides. I'll use an equilateral triangle. Because all the sides are equal, they have to be of the same length. So let's say this side was 9 inches. That means that all the other sides have to be 9 inches. 9 inches plus 9 inches plus 9 inches. And that is equal to 27 inches. And 27 inches in this scenario would be the perimeter. Next, let's do isosceles triangle. In an isosceles triangle, only 2 sides are equal. These 2 should be equal, however, this part, the base, should not. Let's say this was 10 inches. That means that this one also has to be 10 inches, but the bottom doesn't have to. Let's say the bottom is 4 inches. Now, if we add them all together, 10 inches plus 10 inches plus 4 inches, that would be equal to 24 inches. And which is also equal to the perimeter in this case. Next is a scalene triangle. In a scalene triangle, none of the sides are actually equal with each other. All of them have different lengths in measurements. So this side I could say is 15 inches, this side I could say is 10 inches, and this side I could say is 9 inches. If you add all together, 15 inches plus 10 inches plus 9 inches, the answer should be 34 inches and would be the perimeter. Next is a parallelogram. So this is how a parallelogram looks like. In this case, just like a rectangle, 2 of the sides are parallel with each other and 2 of the sides are parallel with each other. Hence the name 2. The formula is, again, you have to add all of the sides up. If these 2 are parallel, they should be the same unit. I'll put 10 yards plus 10 yards. Then I'll put 30 yards and 30 yards. And add it all together. 10 plus 10 is 20. 20 plus 30 is 50. 50 plus 30 is 80. All this should be 80 yards. What's the difference between a rectangle and a parallelogram is the angles aren't 90 degrees. However, the formula is just the same. Next, we're going to be talking about a trapezoid. This is how a trapezoid looks like. These two are parallel, however, these two are not. None of the sides in a trapezoid are actually equal. Even though these two are parallel, the length of them are still not equal. We'll make this 5 miles. We'll make this 10 miles. We'll make this 7 miles. And then this will make 8 miles. Now that we have that, we should add every single thing together. 10 plus 5, and that's equal to 15. 15 plus 7 is equal to 22. Then, if we add a, it will be equal to 30. So the perimeter is 30 miles. So now we'll talk about rhombus. This is how a rhombus looks like. Now, rhombus has two sets of parallel lines. So these two are same and these two are same. So let's say this is 8 centimeters. Let me say this should be 8 centimeters along with this and this. When we add all of it together, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, it's equal to 32 centimeters. Therefore, the perimeter is equal to 32 centimeters. Lastly is circle. The perimeter of a circle is not called the perimeter. Instead, it's called circumference. So for the abbreviation of circumference, I'm going to call it C. So actually, P is equal to C. So it's a bit different. It's because a circle doesn't have actually any sides. Therefore, we can't add them all together because it will be 0. There's a different way in finding the perimeter or the circumference. The way of finding it is 2 pi r. R stands for the radius. And the radius is basically a point from the center stretching all the way to the edge of the circle. That is a radius. Next is pi. Pi is an irrational number which is simplified into 3.14. And then 2 is the mathematical expression of saying you should multiply these two times 2. I'm going to give a small radius. Let's say I'm going to do 8 as the radius. We should multiply pi times the radius. 3.14 times 8. The answer is 25.12. However, we're not done yet because we have to multiply it by 2. 25.12 times 2 is equal to, it's equal to 50.24. In this example, the circumference is equal to 50.24. Let's assume that the unit here is actually in inches. In this case, it would then be 50.24 inches. Another way to calculate if radius is not given, then another way is through diameter. Now, you might be wondering, what does diameter mean? Diameter, or D, is basically the full length. Instead of half length, which is the radius, we have the full length of the circle from edge to edge instead of edge to center. Instead of 2 pi r, the circumference for diameter would be pi times diameter. Let's say the diameter was 24 inches. So we would just multiply 3.14 times 24. The answer is 75.36. So circumference is equal to 75.36 inches. This is all about perimeter and the explanation of all the 2D shapes.